So, when I was a kid, I had a lot of these Bible books and stuff that I grew up with. Most of them were from the Jehovah's Witness Church. But I was always really fascinated with the flood story and the story about the giants, and basically an alternative history than what you get when you're in school. My dad, who was on the Jehovah's Witness side, used to talk about this stuff, and in the church it was really something that would be brought up a lot. On the other side, in the Protestant churches, I don't recall hearing a whole lot about it. It was brought up from time to time, but a lot of the little children's books and stuff I had covered that topic. So as I got older, I have become completely infatuated with it. I think a lot of researchers are digging into the past and trying to discover what happened. And I do believe that we had a global civilization and that there was a great catastrophic event that occurred. I've talked about it in some of my other floods, some of my other videos. And I wonder though, there's people who've done studies where they've taken fish and plants and put them into like a hyperbaric chamber and altered the electromagnetic I don't know if that's the right word. They altered the electromagnetic currency that they're living in, or the atmosphere, I should say, that these plants and animals were living in, and they all grew larger. And they talk about in the Bible about things living longer. Well, when you go back to like the Pleistocene era, I think that's it, pre-flood, pre-12,900 years ago, everything was huge. Giant dragonflies, giant bears, huge wolves, giant beavers, everything was humongous. The megafauna over 100 pounds died off after this impact, which changed everything. And what I believe is that this planet was set up for us in a sense, or terraformed in a way. And I believe that ancient people built megalithic structures with particular types of building materials, or would have rocks with calcitite in it and stuff to amplify the Earth's electromagnetic grid to build up the Earth's atmosphere. In the Bible studies, when I was a kid, I was taught that there was like an atmosphere or a canopy over the Earth, and it didn't rain a lot. It was almost like a controlled environment. And I just wonder that if a lot of our dating in our ancient archaeological sites are off, and a lot of these megalithic pyramid type structures that were built on ley lines and induction zones, if they were all built at a closer time together. And I think if we study archaeoastrology, we can start to date these things more accurate by winding back the cosmic clock. And I wonder if we sometimes I wonder, think about this, I talked about in my Halloween and mushroom video about the comet in the toroidal belt that's been peppering us, and the initial impact could have been that impact. And what if we did, as a human species, evolved and we created some kind of an atmospheric condition where we amplified the Earth's electromagnetic core somehow through building? um, creating an environment where things did live for 1,000 years or more, like it talks about in the Bible, and there were giant species and creatures running around. But we had this polar caps, bigger polar caps, but a more warmer, uh, warmer climate around the middle, um, which changed everything. I wonder if that impact devastated, threw all that off, and that as we came back after generations, some of these pyramids were still activated, some of the cultures were still thriving, but a lot of the ancient knowledge was lost after that cataclysmic event. And I wonder if, today's science talks about the Earth's electromagnetic shield deteriorating and breaking down, and our climate and all this stuff. And you know what? I'm all for global warming, because the opposite of global warming is catastrophic cooling. And right where I live, there was a mile thick sheet of ice at one time, and who can live under a sheet of ice? Maybe if we found a technology, modern technology blended with old technology, we found a way to kickstart this grid system again. Some of the New Age people might call it this Christ consciousness grid of the Earth's Merkaba. Amplify this thing, get it kicking off again. Because maybe this place was created for us, to make it a habitable place for us to thrive in, and maybe we need to take care of it and make it a beautiful, harmonious place again, and a place for us to thrive. Free energy. Well, nothing's really free. We all got to work for it. But I don't know. I just think all that stuff's really fascinating. I decided to come out here and talk about it and ramble it. But maybe if we rediscover that ancient knowledge, how to tune into the earth, we can create a better earth. I think we need to worry about cleaning up the place first, though. Particulates, all the plastic in the ocean. It's scary when you look into that. Not everybody knows it, but there's giant whirlpools of plastic that are miles tall, just breaking down like a tornado out there, and they're the size of the state of Texas. There's 6 or 7 or 8 of those things swirling around out in the oceans, just polluting everything. Getting plastic particles into all the fish's reproductive systems and everything out, and then the smog issues. We shouldn't worry about global warming. We should worry about cleaning up our mess and keeping the temperature relatively warm, because the alternative would be a disaster. That's my opinion. If you look at the devastation from the last flood melt-off from maybe the Young Dryas period, like the Scablands and the North Pacific Northwest, and all of the crazy. You see all those rocks stacked up out in Utah and all those places. You realize the Great Lakes were left behind from this melt-off. It must have been devastating. Any evidence of this advanced civilization from back then would be pretty much wiped off the face of the earth. If we were to go today, 10,000 years from now, there wouldn't be much left, but maybe the faces on the president's faces on the mountains, and all the steel, all the metal, everything would rust away. Everything would deteriorate within 10,000 years, and only the stone objects left behind would be a monument to attest to our advancements at this time. Anyways, I gotta go deal with my pets. Have a great day, people. One love. Be blessed.